Money. Welcome to the project. If it's TDP, you can bet it's must-see TV. Real talk, having real talks with the TBE. The best ever, letting me be me. We be always busy and they hate that. They gotta see Miggy in his Maybach. Hater couldn't hit me till they listen to a playback. What I owe you, cause like really this the payback. No Diddy, take that. See in profit, we could pop it till it's over. See the vision can't be cropped unless I'm chopping it through Nova. Kato jumping in and out of pocket like a soldier. Cause like really to touch every single topic is a project. Let me show you. Up to something like my hand on a cannon. Push a button like I'm Lando or Landon. Climbing up the charts, how you smart but you can't understand it. You will never see us famished, so vanish, for real. Welcome to the project.
I love this, and I just came back from Buffalo. Spent a couple days back in Buffalo, New York, my hometown, where I lived for 32 years. A beautiful place. Watching my Buffalo Bills take the victory over the Kansas City Chiefs, so I'm feeling good today. Today we have a special show. My name is Danza.
Yes, sir. It's your boy Kato.
This is the Danza Project, and today we have Will from Bay Smokes, and we have Katiana, also from Bay Smokes. Mm-hmm. And you're also in a relationship.
Yep.
7 years.
And you do business together.
Yeah.
And that's extremely interesting because a lot of times things like that don't work out too well. So talk to us.
It's worked out super well for us.
Amen.
Yeah. I feel like we balance each other in different ways where I'm very structural and she's extremely creative and sees things about what's trending, social media, and like how to make something go viral. And that's really marketing is one of the most important part of businesses. So we just kind of bounce ideas and bounce energy off of each other really well. And ultimately, I feel like our relationship is strong because it's also just communication. I feel like that's something we do really well.
Yeah. Never go to sleep angry.
Never go to sleep angry. I'm going to ask you a bunch of relationship tips because that's amazing that you make it work. And I see that you also do a lot of stuff on TikTok, and you have great chemistry. You have fun, and that's super cool. But let's get into Bay Smokes for a little bit. And shout out to Duty Low, by the way, for making this introduction.
Appreciate him for putting it together. Yeah.
Now you're running a $100 million company at 26 years old. Bay Smokes.
Yeah.
How did this entire thing come together?
Well, when I was in high school, I got a lot of concussions. I smoked weed, and that made that concussion pain go away. I sold it back then, and I tried to get away from that. And I moved across the country to go to college. I had a half scholarship, and ultimately, I found e-commerce. I was trying to make something work with e-commerce. I met her, and we tried to make something work together with e-commerce. We made little bits of money drop shipping different things, but then we saw the Farm Bill pass in 2018, and that's when we were able to start legally selling hemp products as our e-commerce. We wanted to start a brand, not just drop ship products. And so we started a hemp company, and it started as CBD tinctures, and then it evolved to Delta 8, and then it evolved again to regular cannabis products that it is today. But it kind of came because this was a plant that helped me. It was a plant that helped her. She got in 2 car accidents, near death, both of them.
I ejected from the windshield from both of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I was actually prescribed all these pharmaceuticals when I was 15. But luckily for me, I was able to convince my mom to get me in the medical marijuana program. And that for me was life-changing. Oh, shit.
But that's super cool. And there's a difference, right? Can you explain to us what the difference is exactly?
Yeah. At this point, in terms of what is the products that we sell versus what you get in a dispensary, there's not a whole lot of difference, but the legal definition that is hemp says that it's the cannabis plant. So it's the same plant. It's not a different whatever. But it's a specific compound in that plant has to be under 0.3%. And that compound is not necessarily the one that the plant produces. It is in the plant, and it's typically between 0% and maybe 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. But THC cannabis is kind of in that range naturally. The hemp laws being the way they are, saying 0.3, it's somewhat luck of the draw, but if you kind of have your conditions right, you can forcefully, keep it at 0% or whatever, so that regular cannabis can be considered hemp. as grown by a person with a hemp license, and it's federally legal, so we can sell it across state lines.
But that's true for now. Now,
Yeah.
at 26 years old, you're also responsible for fighting lobbyists
Yeah.
who are trying to get rid of this industry all in
Yeah,
all.
man.
So how's that pressure feel on you, taking all this on, knowing that you started from nothing, right? You've invested all your own
Yeah.
to build this thing up. You got these guys out there saying we don't want it around anymore.
I mean, it feels like a war. It feels like we're at war every day. And it's like, I'm a competitive person, so I'm going to fight the war. And I love this plant. I love the company and the team that we've built together. So, and this is, like you said, like this is all ours. Like I don't have a real estate portfolio or a stock portfolio or something. Like I'm pretty much all in on this business. So it's a huge business. I'm super grateful that we've gotten to this size, but, I'm fighting for my family to stay at the position that we're at because, of this plant being the farm bill and the way that it's legal today. So I want it to stay that way. So we can continue to grow as much as we can across the country and hopefully one day across the world as well. But also just because I feel like nobody should be going to jail or prison for smoking this. And this is a legal product now. So now buying it from a company like ours, you have it says something on the packaging that this is hemp, scan here for the lab test. And now if you get pulled over or whatever, you get stopped with it, like they can't arrest you for it. They can take it from you if they want to give you a hard time, but they can't bring you to jail or prison for it because it's a federally legal product. And even if they want to contest that, realistically, the worst they're going to probably do is just confiscate it, which that's a million times better than having a charge on your record or, whether that's misdemeanor or felony or what. Like you don't want to give cops a reason to fuck with you.
Now, in order to do so, you have to have this bag with the details on it, though, I'm guessing, because if you have...
It's got like a QR code.
But let's say you just have
it.
it rolled up in a blunt. That's probably going to be a little bit different, correct?
If you had the packaging with you, like if you still had the bag with you, that's your best defense. If you go and just tell them, hey, this is hemp, I bought it at a smoke shop, whatever, at the end of the day, like if you'll have to go to court for it. And if you can kind of produce some sort of semi-viable information that shows that, hey, I did have the intent that I was legally buying a legal product, then, you might have to prove yourself in court in doing so, because if it's just in a blunt, then it's how much do they want to be a dick to you. But at the end of the day, like if you did buy it from a smoke shop and it is legal hemp, then you should be fine.
Yeah, because all this is new territory. So
it is.
It's interesting to see how that goes. Because back in the day, it's like, if it looks like weed, if it smells like weed, well, it's got to be, so.
Well, there was no other thing that weed could be. It just, if it's green, it stinks. Like that's weed.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Now, when your girlfriend almost dies, you're dealing with concussions. Did you ever think to yourself that this would be your life's mission?
Oh, no. My parents are both engineers. And so, like, I grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina, and that area, like, the paths that I foresaw for my life was either I'm going to go to school and be an engineer, or I'm going to be a failure. That was like, if I'm not going to college, then, it's a blue collar job. That's what everyone else is going to do. I was smart. I had good grades. I didn't like school, but I was smart enough to get a half scholarship, and I was interested in engineering. So I was like, okay, like this is, I guess, what I want to do. I didn't really know exactly what I want to do, but like I said, I didn't really like school. And so when I got out there, I went to Arizona State University, and I saw all these other young kids making money, driving Lamborghinis, and like there's no Lamborghinis in Raleigh, North Carolina. Like people have Lexuses and Mercedes maybe, but not like a Maybach and not like an expensive
supercars.
Whatever. Yeah, there's no Ferraris, right? It's just like middle class. And so seeing that, I was like, how is this possible? It must be because their families are rich or something like that. And eventually I got around some kids that their families were rich, but they weren't smart. And they were starting these e-commerce businesses with no money. So I was like, okay, these guys aren't smart and they're starting with no money. And like, I just kept trying to tell myself like, no, there must be something that I don't have that it's like they can do because of their families or what. I just realized like, no, like this is not that hard to do ourselves, and we can do this with no money or like $100, So
at what moment did you think to yourself, I'm all in?
As soon as I made like $1,000 with e-commerce. I was like,
Let's go.
I was like, this is the easiest legal money that I ever made, because other than that, I worked at a grocery store. I was at the fish market of this store called H Mart. It's like a Korean, I think, grocery store. And that work sucks, for like probably $10 an hour or whatever. But I mean, making $1,000 in like a short period of time on e-commerce, it's like, okay, it's possible. And I did this in my free time. Like, I'm half-assing this. So what if I just dropped out of school and went all in on this? And right about that same time, the Farm Bill passed, and I saw an article that's like, CBD is now legal, and I used CBD in high school for my headaches. I was like, holy shit, like, this is a real product, and it's important that people know about this. Nobody knows about this. I only knew because I was a nerd and I was into cannabis. And I was like, okay, we need to make a business out of this, and one day it's going to turn into regular weed. And if we just stick this out, like, we can ride the wave as legalization comes, and we'll be the front runners. And whatever happens, like, we can make a huge business as this is coming out of prohibition. And so we just kind of stuck it through, and one thing turned to another, and here we are today.
And you both started this together?
Yeah, we were literally hand making these products in our little apartment, like ourselves, like wearing a hairnet, playing scientists with our stove. I don't know.
Making CBD tinctures, mixing oil and the CBD distillate and stuff.
Yeah, we wouldn't eat that week and use that money, literally our food money.
Materials.
For materials for our business.
It's funny because, like, I'm sure your parents were like, can't you sell back massagers and like workout bands? Can't you drop ship or white label something else,
Yeah, I mean, because I was a shithead in high school, like, my parents saw me doing what I was doing, and they just thought the worst of it, and they're like, oh fuck, he's gonna end up in prison. And that's what they thought for the longest time, until honestly we finally started doing well. We moved out to
it still took years.
Yeah.
They barely accepted it recently.
It took a while to do that, but I mean, the first time they saw us in Miami, because we moved to Miami kind of at the beginning of COVID, and that's when our business started doing real well.
Okay.
And we moved into a really nice, expensive condo, and I mean, it's something that was far beyond the level of like wealth that my parents had ever would conceive that we would achieve. So they saw us in that condo, and at first they're like, are you paying your taxes? Are you saving enough? And like they were just scared of the amount of money that we were spending and making and stuff.
Rightfully so.
But slowly
parents,
but surely they're realizing, like, okay, I guess Will knows more about money and business and stuff than we do now, so I should probably start listening to him. So
What age was this, you said?
I was like 21 when we moved into that. So like 5 years ago, we moved to Miami.
Really?
Yeah. The first 2 years of our relationship, we had little spurts of money that we would make from e-commerce. We also did like wholesale brokering. So we would go to the farms, all the farms all over the West Coast, and sell their raw material to the labs, all in the hemp industry. And then we would sell the extracts of that to different like white label or manufacturers or other brands. And that was, we made nice chunks of money, like not insane, like tens of thousands of dollars here and there, but it would be like spotty. So it would be enough to kind of like pay our bills and like keep us going, but it wouldn't be enough to like, all right, let's go ball out and live in a sick condo in Miami.
To thrive.
Yeah, it was not thriving, but it was enough to keep the vision going of like, all right, like we're going to keep figuring this out and make it work. And you learn more and more, just like you said about your podcast. Like, it's like as you're going, like you just learn more and more about the business, what works, what doesn't work, and then you find out how to make something work really well.
That's some of the best advice I can give any of my like friends, and especially the ones that want to be entrepreneurs. I tell them, I'm like, just whatever the thing is, start it.
Yeah,
because
and go all in.
After a while, it'll start to tell you what it needs from you. I have a buddy who wants to make videos for stock and stocks and things like that, and he's like, I'm just telling him do it. And after a while, you're going to say, okay, I should put a little ticker at the bottom, and I should probably do a segment about this, and I should probably prep this and the third. So just get it started, and eventually you'll figure out what it really needs from you. Bridge the gap. How did you know to come to Miami? Was that just luck, or?
It was actually because one of her girlfriends had a birthday, and they had like her boyfriend's parents had like a timeshare in Fort Lauderdale. So we ended up coming down here to stay a week here, and it was like right at the start of COVID. And it was like, oh wow, everything is still open. Where
boy, did you come to the right place?
Yeah, everything was kind of like closing where we were, and then you know, we stayed the week there. I was like, that was really fun. And I was like, hey guys, like I've never been to Miami. Like, what if we just went and rented an Airbnb in Miami and we stayed in Brickell at the Icon, and it was sick. Like we stayed up and like looked at the water and the city.
Miami.
I was playing the Will Smith
For
song,
sure.
and it was just like, this is awesome.
Prime DJ Khaled time too. So phenomenal.
Not only awesome, but expensive.
Oh yeah,
You know, you're picking up your life and you're moving here. The real estate is ridiculous. These condos
Yeah.
are ridiculous.
Insane.
You know, so
Yeah.
a lot of money that you're also placing a little bit more pressure.
There's
When
a
you
lot of
sign that
pressure.
lease, you're like,
to be
Brains
honest,
weren't developed yet fully.
no. We were definitely in the mode of like, okay, the amount of money that we were spending on that first lease was something we would never conceive 7 months earlier. Like we moved here and the Airbnb, we spent like $3,000 for a month for an Airbnb. We did Airbnb for like 7 months to test out different areas, and like we just kept making, like our business grew really fast during that time, and so did our budget, and we spent 3 and then 5 and then 8 and then 15, and then it was like, oh shit, what? That was spending a lot of fucking money on rent and everything, and then we signed a lease and it was like $13,000. But it was an insane condo, and
climb.
that motivation was like, you know, we woke up every day being by far the poorest people in that condo. And like everyone was like, whose grandkids are you? And it's like all a bunch of old rich people. And but the energy that was like surrounding us with that is like motivating for us. Like, you know, it was a lot of pressure also. Like we need to succeed now. Otherwise, if we fuck up this lease, we're going to get evicted.
Only recently have I been hearing that and seeing that on social media where they say, what is it? It's like something about when you come to Miami, you can be whoever you want. They used to say that about Cali. They used to say that about New York. You make it there, you make it anywhere. Now people are saying that about Miami.
It's a real like fast up and coming city, and because it was so welcoming during COVID, I think, and like for people to come down from New York and from California both, you know, they're putting a lot more money into it, and there's just so much of everything here, and the weather's great, and I like the East Coast. I grew up on the East Coast, and I like the humidity. Some people are like, oh, you know, the humidity is too much for me, but I'll rather be warm going out at nighttime than cold like in LA or
Everywhere
New York.
else.
Yeah, everywhere else.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
now you didn't take investor money doing this on your own.
no.
And when you start accomplishing things, was that like a sense of pride for you? Like, is it good to have the control? How did that make you feel?
I mean, there's some part that's like, I guess you could say a sense of pride or what. There's some part that I don't know if this is like a real world thing or just kind of like this was my conceived notion of investor money, but I was like, we wanted to retain control of our vision, and our vision is really about like the
Helping
plant
people.
and healing and helping people. And like, I would never want someone to come in and be too profit focused that it becomes like, oh, you have to do things this way or that way. And I'm sure that we could find investors that are either like we would just mandate and give them zero control, in which case they just provide money and we do whatever. But also the business is profitable, so we haven't really needed any investment at this point. You know, and maybe we'll find some project in the future that will, but like, thank God, like it's super profitable. So we've been able to grow it all ourselves. But yeah, I guess it's you don't like celebrate the wins as it's happening, but you know, when you step back and look, it's like, oh yeah, we did something really cool. And like, if you know, we're telling our story, people are like, oh, that's a real cool accomplishment that you've done this and you're 26 and you bootstrapped it from nothing. So it's like, I'm proud of ourselves for sure.
Yeah.
With lending, right? You know, when you're building a business, with all the stuff that's going on with the lobbyists, I would imagine it's a little bit difficult for you to speak to banks about getting lending or even merchants. Right?
Yeah. The merchant thing has gotten significantly easier. It's pretty straightforward now. Like, as long as you have all your lab tests and like, as long as you're a legitimate compliant business and you can show them like, look, this is the farm that I buy from. Here's their hemp license. This is the lab test of the products, and everything is legitimate and compliant, etc. Merchant processing is easy. There are now several big banks, First Citizens is one of them, that have no problem and they're fully accepting and embracing of hemp businesses. But lending is still kind of like, you know, people are very on the fence about it. And like I said, I don't have some sort of thing to collateralize it. So I don't have a real estate portfolio or stocks or something that they're like, all right, you want to give you all this money for your business, but like, what if hemp changes? What if the laws change and then your business revenue is not existing anymore to pay back the loan? So that's the downside of that.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's been good so far. Having more access to capital in any business is like better, because for any distribution type of business where this is like heavily distribution as well, all the distributors want to do like net terms, whether that's 30 or 60 day primarily, some of them 90 day, which means you just kind of have to float hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars of product. And we've done that, but it's like, because it's just our money. It's like we're being very selective of like who we give product to.
Absolutely. OPM, other people's money. It's good to use
It's easier when it's other people's money to just like, sure, have it. Here's the front. Good luck.
Absolutely.
See you in 30 days.
Yeah. So did you face any hardships?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been like scammed out of money a lot of times. We've done bad marketing deals where it's like we just lost huge amounts of money. But we're very like just go all in type of people. And like I said earlier, like it's like a at war and like I'm going to win. Like I have that mentality that like we're not going to stop and we're going to make anything work. So,
yeah, we're pretty stubborn.
We're very stubborn.
What's the most expensive mistake one could make in your industry? Because I know there's many. Okay.
I mean,
and you're laughing from experience. Okay? This is like, where do I start? Do I name names? Like
the most expensive loss that I mean, it's not necessarily a loss because like I have a contract and I can go through a legal process to get my money back, and this is a person that has money that I can take back. But
who wants to do all that?
Yeah, I don't want to go to court. Like that's not what I'm in business for. I'm in business to move green trees. Like that's what we're about. But yeah, I mean, some of the worst ones that I can say freely is just like, people that promise one thing or another in marketing and it just like doesn't deliver. And we've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in bad marketing investments. And you just kind of like, fuck it.
Let's keep going.
Move on.
Where are we going next?
Yeah. Because that's the toughest thing about this business is and has been marketing, because you can't really do the traditional marketing channels. So, we've got to work with big influencers and celebrities, or making, our own organic content, or other type of, publicist or other different various random people. But it's like none of the normal channels, and a lot of people are predatory towards cannabis businesses because they know they don't really have lots of options.
Yeah. Shout out to our guy Ted Buds. We had him on here prior, and he had a really cool way to market it. So
Ted Fest.
Not just that, right? On social media, what he does is he like reenacts scenes from movies where they're smoking. Like there's one that he's reenacting Training Day.
Okay.
And it's just like he's talking about, it's kind of like a conversation about stuff that's going on, but it seems like it's a movie scene. And it's getting people to, click.
Yeah.
And it's really sending them
how we first started in the very beginning was like, I made these like goofy how to roll tutorials, and like during COVID at the very beginning, people like there was like very minimal restrictions, so we weren't getting pages deleted, and we were making content, and it was like this how to roll video, and I would roll a joint, an inside out joint, and like at the beginning of the video I would light it and the thing would like go on fire, and it would kind of be this shock value thing, but it went viral, and then we would pay like all the meme pages to repost the video. And that grew us to like 250,000 followers as a cannabis brand.
Smart.
That's like one of the biggest cannabis brand accounts. Like, and I was in like a 2-3 month period, and then that one got deleted, and we made another one, and that got up to like 150,000 in like a month, and that one got deleted. And
yeah, even our app went trending in the App Store too during that time.
Yeah, because we just made funny videos, little like meme like videos, and it was like. I had glasses back then too, so I was like, "What does this nerd know about rolling weed?" And so I was like, almost like pissing people off that like I'm talking as an authority in the cannabis space, and didn't necessarily look like somebody who likes smoking weed every day, but it worked. And social content that works.
So,
go ahead.
I was gonna say how did you overcome marketing without being able to market on some of the biggest platforms like a TikTok, like
Yeah, I mean, it was Instagram at first, just making the, like I said, like the content, we had like a gap. There was maybe like 4 to 5 months during COVID where the Meta employees were not at the office.
Go ahead. It's like government shutdown. They're just
yeah,
like,
basically. It's like, yeah, okay, we got to get, and that's why like our mentality with anything marketing is like when we find a gap that's working, we hit it hard and we go all the way until we get banned or whatever it is, because like a lot of times an opportunity pops up and then it disappears. So we had something, it worked really well at first. And then, I mean, if you've seen our brand before, it's probably because you've seen it with a rapper talking about it or what. The second month, I think, of launching our brand, we did a partnership with Tory Lanez. And so that was another big thing that kind of like off rip gave us huge access to A, all of his following, and B, that was like kind of right at the beginning of the incident about him. And he went on a podcast with the Nelk Boys, and it was like their 3rd episode or something. And that was like a huge win for us as a business. Like it was hundreds of thousands of dollars extra in sales that like week or something. And so, you know, we kind of got lucky with a handful of different things and just the timing and just going all out at all different angles possible. But, you know, anything that worked, it worked for like once or that time, and then we had to find something new.
It's crazy because you guys are doing this as a couple. Okay. So like most couples argue about bills, you guys are arguing about policies and, you know, trying to get things approved and out to the masses, marketing and things like that. I mean,
we don't argue a whole lot. I mean, we argue about bills too as well, because it's like, you know,
different bills.
I like shopping.
She really likes shopping, and I'm a pretty conservative person. I don't like to spend money, and like I would like to invest our money back into our business and grow our business. And I really like that we have employees, that we pay them well and everything. So I like the idea of growing it bigger and supporting more people. And so,
you know, when you have a crazy significant other that's all in on something, it's like, fuck, sometimes I just wish we had a little more money to do something else. But the fact that both of you are able to kind of align on that is actually super dope. And this isn't an easy city to do that. Okay?
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I mean, we definitely waste a lot of money on stupid shit.
I appreciate that.
Was there ever a moment for the two of you where you felt like maybe it's not worth it? Should we try something else?
Yeah, I mean, several times throughout the industry, like there's been different like legal, you know, laws pending to get passed where it's like we're looking at it and we're like, holy shit, we could be dead to like in 2 months or 3 months or something. And like also we've had to move our warehouse multiple times. It started in Colorado and we moved because there was kind of hostility towards hemp businesses to Tennessee. And then there was hostility there towards hemp businesses. We moved to Florida. And then there was mega hostility here 2 years in a row. The first year we just stuck it out. But the second year it was looking like the big medical companies here spent like $100 million that year lobbying to try to wipe us out, and not us, but the hemp industry. And it was like at that point we were growing really fast. We needed a bigger warehouse. I was afraid of the idea of like, okay, we're gonna sign a lease, and commercial leases are like usually 3 to 5 years or something. So it was like, okay, we're gonna have to get into a new expensive financial commitment, plus have all these different employees there that was gonna be at the time 20 or 30 or something employees, and then it was growing fast. So I was like, I don't feel comfortable making that long-term decision while we're like at war with the big medical companies here. So, you know, we moved it up to North Carolina, and right now, you know, North Carolina is actually the best state in the country for cannabis hemp laws, and that's where hopefully we'll be able to stay, because a lot of the major companies have moved their operations up to North Carolina, and a lot of the different politicians there are supportive of the hemp business because it's agricultural business at the end of the day. So we don't have enemies, and the current politicians are pretty okay and happy with this.
But can you speak to that like a little bit further? Like what's really killing the hemp industry? Like you speak of corporate greed. Yeah. Like what's your reaction?
There's like a handful of things, but if you are going off the buzzword corporate greed, it's like I look at the major like multi-state operating cannabis company, like marijuana companies that are in the medical and recreational marijuana side. a lot of those have raised hundreds of millions or even like $1 billion of investor money, and they're spending that recklessly lobbying against hemp instead of just trying to grow their own business and make their own business profitable. I think that is extremely reckless, and it's not fair to their investors, and it's not right in terms of like the industry. Like they're trying to do something that ultimately would hurt the consumer and, with investor money. So that's one angle, but there's other groups that are against hemp. I think, not everybody that's the big alcohol brands are against it. There's some that have their own hemp beverages and are actually lobbying with us to keep hemp legal. But some of the other big alcohol lobbyist groups and distributor groups are lobbying to get rid of it because alcohol sales are going down, and some people are replacing it with hemp or cannabis or whatever. Pharmaceutical industries have kind of always lobbied against anything hemp, cannabis, whatever, like either side, whether it's marijuana or hemp. But
have you witnessed any like dirty doings, like putting out propaganda?
Yes, that's like, all lobbying is, and it's weird. Like I'm 26. I shouldn't know anything about lobbying or anything like that, but I'm doing this now. I have to understand it and fight and play the game of politics to defend my business and defend the industry. But basically, I've kind of learned while doing this, like it kind of just is like, who's got enough money to hire an army to go down to the congressman or whoever and, persuade them with conversations and donations and everything. And that's kind of like what politics is. And so it's unfortunate that that's what it is, but it makes sense at the same time. But the ones that have way, infinite pockets and, decades or century plus of experience lobbying are, big tobacco, big pharma, and big alcohol. Versus us, a brand new industry like us as in hemp, we're just barely putting together a lobbying industry, and the lobbying groups that are pro hemp are probably spending in the ballpark of like 15 to 20 million a year, which might sound like a lot, but like alcohol, tobacco, pharmaceuticals, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars every year. Even when they're not fighting a ban bill, they're just keeping things the way they want them. So it's a very different playing field.
Quite the battle ahead of you.
Yeah.
I've heard Joe Rogan say, he's like, the ones who want to ban these things, and he's usually referring to like psychedelics and stuff like that, but he's like, the ones who want to ban these things typically have never tried it.
Yeah.
But I can't but help but think it's beyond that. I think it's more about the money. I think it's more about trying to oust an opportunity and a potential threat.
So I was going to school for biomedical engineering. I'm really passionate about medicine. And as I was going for school, I realized hey, nature and plants is kind of like the best medicine. So how can we engineer plants in terms of the extracts or the way that you do formulations and stuff and how they work together collaboratively to be good medicine, and seeing that plants are cheap medicine and the pharmaceutical industry is kind of based around expensive medicine that your insurance company is typically going to have to pay for. And so you have to kind of be on all of these forever payment models. And a lot of them don't actually cure you. They just kind of are Band-Aids. And, a lot of these Band-Aids also drain you and your body of some other thing. That's why you see a pharmaceutical commercial and it's side effects include.
By the way,
what is the gut reaction you get when you hear lawmakers label this as synthetic weed?
It's a two-sided thing, right? Because you hear synthetic and immediately you're thinking that's a bad and negative thing. And there's, spice, K2, that type of thing. That was a synthetic, that is a synthetic weed. It is imitating a natural cannabinoid in a way, but it is edited or, changed in a synthetic way that is, people smoke spice and they go crazy or they start chewing people's faces whatever.
Off.
That's right.
That is synthetic weed.
That happened out here in Miami, by the way.
The Florida man on spice. But that's synthetic weed. Now, Delta 8, you might also call that synthetic because it's converted from CBD, which is a natural kind of process. But it's not an extensive lift. organic chemistry to convert one cannabinoid to another cannabinoid. And Delta 8 is natural, although like it's typically found in a very small quantity. You know, people could call that synthetic, but it's not really a dangerous synthetic. But that's not really what the industry is anymore, because people have kind of really figured out that, hey, regular natural cannabis, like they just call it THCa flower, is legal under this farm bill. Well, why would I want to sell Delta 8, which is, you know, you could call it synthetic, but it's just another cannabinoid. It's not a dangerous one, but it's half as potent versus regular THCa, you know, is natural, completely organic cannabis. That's totally legal. And that's what we sell at this point. Like we used to sell Delta 8 cartridges because that was like what we knew was legal at the time. And nothing actually changed about the law. Just people started realizing like, wait a second, like the way it's written, like regular weed is legal. So as soon as that was kind of like established, and as soon as I saw someone else doing it, at first I was like, oh, you're an idiot and you're going to go to jail. Like you're doing something legal. You have to be, but then I talked to lawyers and I'm like, oh shit, like this is actually legal too. And this is regular natural cannabis. So why would I sell Delta 8 when I could just sell this? And so at this point, how people are using and calling synthetic cannabis, I think is kind of just like a way to dismiss it as dangerous. You know, people are trying to shed the hemp industry in a light of, oh, you're selling a dangerous synthetic product, but that's really not the nature of what it is today.
But so, all right, so if we can't fight the good fight, if this ban actually does happen, what happens to you? What happens to you and your employees, Bay Smokes?
Yeah, so I mean, what happens to me if they ban it with the language? So currently, Congressman Mitch McConnell and Andy Harris are trying to sneak in language that changes the definition of hemp, and they're trying to change the definition in a way that would effectively ban. I mean, some people say 90%, but I'm saying 100%, like 99% of all the products. If that happens, the demand of these products does not go away. And medical recreational marijuana is not available in every single state. So it's not like, oh, well, they're just going to go to the dispensary. No, they're going to go back to the black market. And the black market is run by some, you know, nothing wrong with them people, but also by gangs and criminals and by criminals of other countries and all sorts of things. And at the end of the day, that's dangerous for the consumer. That's dangerous for the country. So it's bad if it gets banned, for sure. But for me and my company and my family, we have started other e-commerce businesses. They're much smaller in size. You know, my goal really is over the next couple months to get one of our other projects to take off, because I hate the idea of having to lay off people because our business goes to nothing, getting banned. But yeah, I mean, it is a real existential threat that the industry is facing. And so that's why I'm coming to you guys to try to share the message of this, and why I'm going to try to go on other podcasts as well to share the same message. Like, it's a very important topic for the country, and not just like, oh, I'm trying to save my own pockets.
Right.
You talk about regulation, not prohibition.
Yeah.
Right. Do you feel like the government wants to regulate or control?
So the government and the current administration is not for destroying a bunch of American businesses, small businesses at that. Like, it's not like a bunch of mega corporations that are in hemp. Hemp industry employs something like 350,000 people across the country, and that's to the tune of like 80,000 small businesses, from smoke shops to e-commerce companies like mine and other just brands. So that's also something like 70 to 80 billion dollars of annual economic activity. That's a fuckload of taxes. None of that is something that the current administration at a high level is supportive of banning. And also, like I said, if this gets banned, it just pumps right up the black market, which is also not something that anybody really wants. So it kind of leaves us at this default of like, look, this industry has been here and people aren't like dying at alarming rates. Like, this is not a dangerous product, but the way the law is written, it legalized this as an agricultural crop, not as a recreational substance like alcohol or tobacco or whatever, something like that, that needs to have an age gate, for example. Like, there's nothing in the federal law that says this needs to be 21 plus. So when we're talking about like bad actors in this space, I mean, some smoke shops aren't IDing people. That's not a large percentage of the people. I do believe the vast majority of these businesses are self-policing and self-adhering to reasonable, realistic standards and rules, such as only selling to 21 plus, testing the product for potency and contaminants, etc., and not marketing the products or labeling the products in a way that is confusing or appealing to children. Like at some point there were people who were like making Doritos bags or something, and they called it like Doughweedos or whatever, and they were selling it in smoke shops. Those were the bad actors that went after the most, because that is confusing to a child. And if they parent bought it, even a legal 21 older parent bought it, but it's at the house and like a kid eats that, like that's not okay, because edibles are really the thing that is the most potential for someone to eat for because you can't, like if you're a kid, you can't just smoke, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you need to know how to roll it and have a lighter and all that. So that's a lot less likely for something bad to happen. But if it's a bag of Doughweedos, like that's a problem. And in terms of regulation, that's what regulation should be looking to stop, is like not having something that appeals to kids and then have a clear statement that like this is 21 plus only. And, you know, so a cop, if a smoke shop or whatever was selling to minors under 21, the cops actually have legal grounds to say, you know, you're violating this and
we're gonna shut
whatever.
down.
We're gonna shut you down.
I'll never forget. I had a cookie before, and I was high out of my mind, and like I was just like, let me just read this because I'm already fried. I was out in California, fried out of my mind. I thought everybody was coming to kill me.
Oh my God.
I look at the back of the package. It says, "You can always eat more. You can never eat less." And that was it. I went to the room and I shut everything down. Locked doors. Nobody's allowed in here because I already know what everybody's trying to do. They're all trying to kill me. And I was sent on this mission to California because they were going to take my life. I don't know exactly what they were going to take my life for. I just knew they were going to do it. Initially, I was driving in the car, and we're driving down this is my first time in California. There's like 10 lanes. And I look at my boy, he was sleeping the whole time. I finally woke him up, and I'm like, you got to drive. But I'm so high that I just said, fuck it. I tried moving right there in the middle. Like while the car was moving, I was like, fuck that, I'm getting out of here. I'm telling you, something's wrong. This guy behind us has been following us for fucking miles. There's nowhere for him to go. The car was stuck behind me. You know what I mean? So like, it's interesting. Yeah, you definitely don't want a kid eating edibles. That's for sure.
No. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too, that, you know, different states are putting their own regulation already. So it's already kind of happening on a state by state level, but currently the existential crisis part is at the federal level. Like I said, Andy Harris, Mitch McConnell trying to sneak in wording in the new farm bill. But, you know, different states are trying to put different limitations on edibles, which there's some part of me that's like, oh, that's probably reasonable because some idiot companies are making 1,000 milligram cookies, which is just like an ungodly amount of THC that no one should consume. Like, you're a freak of nature if you can consume that much.
I'm not a freak of nature. I found out that day that I wasn't.
The hard way.
You know what I mean?
The hard way. Yeah. But like, you know, nobody's like overdosing, smoking too much. I mean, sometimes you can take a dab or something, but like that's a lot different than like edibles. Like, you know, if it's in one gummy or one cookie or whatever, and the label is either unclear of what's in it, or maybe it's just way too highly dosed and it doesn't have like a big warning that says like, do not eat this unless you are a freak of nature and are capable of extreme doses or something. Because like an average dose for a person for edibles is like 5 milligrams of THC. Like that's where probably your average person will be comfortable, and like a heavy user might be taking like 20 milligrams or something like that. But if you're going too much over that and it's in like one gummy, if a regular person takes like a 50 milligram, even
You're
like
smacked.
because you don't know, right? Like, and that's what happened with me. I'm like, it's a cookie, so I'm gonna eat the cookie. I didn't know it was like in 10 different servings. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is a good cookie until it wasn't a good cookie anymore. You know what I mean? This is a bad cookie.
And for that, I think like, you know, it's not like like people can sell Everclear alcohol, which is 100%, and you know, one shot of that is like pretty hefty. Or you know, if you make a drink of that, like it's pretty hefty, but like it's still legal, and it should be an adult's choice to buy that and have safe responsibility with that. But you know that it's as strong as it is because there's a labeling regulation. So in the same way, we just need to have a proper labeling regulation for edibles. Even if people want to make these crazy dose cookies, it just should have a clear, very clear, labeling and dosing guide and all of that sort of thing. Like there's standard and recommended doses for stuff, and it should say like, hey, the recommended dose is 5 milligrams. And even if you're a heavy user, okay, well, 5 milligrams is not my dose. My dose is 50, but like regular people, 5 milligrams is fine. So if it's a 1,000 milligram cookie, put on it, this is whatever that is, 200 doses, so nobody
200 people.
Share this
man
cookie
in Miami caught eating another man's face. The zombie apocalypse has become, that's really what happens.
That's one of the important parts about the whole regulation thing too, is like, I've had friends that have tried things, and sometimes they make a batch and it's more dense on this side of the tray than it is on the other. And so when the true distribution comes out, you get one that's just a little, and it might say 5 milligrams, but you're on the side of 50. Yeah. And so talk about some of the earlier phases when you were in your own place, whipping up tinctures. And trying
the
to get it off
tinctures
the
that
ground.
we were making were CBD tinctures, and I was a biomedical engineer student, so I felt like we were pretty good. We were very cleanly, and my mom was an engineer, and then she became a dentist. But as she was a dentist, I worked in her office for some period of time, sterilizing the rooms. So I had some level of understanding of okay, how to make a room sterile. And so we made the room in our area sterile. We used everything properly, and then how we dosed and weighed everything. I feel like everything was fairly accurate, but the damage of misdosing a CBD tincture versus a THC edible, taking too much CBD, you'll be calm and maybe go to sleep.
Super good move.
But you're not going to be uncomfortably high. Taking way too much THC, you could go think people are going to.
But is that entirely true? Right? I don't know what went on when I first moved here. They had these CBD gummies, and everybody and their mother told me that CBD is not that big of a deal. So I just thought it was good. So I'd go to the store. I had I'm managing an office. There's 20 employees, and I had these CBD the sour strips. Damn candy in the world to me, right?
I like those.
So I'm just in a meeting one day, and everybody's talking. I took these. I forgot I took them because I took them every day. I just took a little bit more this day because it was delicious. And I'm looking at them and same shit, because I'm one of those people I'll definitely get paranoid off of edibles. But I didn't know what was going on. And they're talking, and I'm like, all right, something's going on. I'm super high because I'm getting all sorts of paranoid. So I just walked to the car. It's a meeting that we're all in. I walked to the car. So give me a second. I walked to the car. And I was like, fuck this, I'm taking off. You know what I mean? And I just left, and they're blowing up my phone. I don't want to answer because I don't know I don't know exactly what went on. I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, nothing went on. Yeah. But it was CBD.
Yeah.
Can you take enough?
No.
To work
if it is CBD, you could take a whole gram of CBD and you're not going to be high. Like I said, CBD is a anti-inflammatory.
Maybe it wasn't all CBD,
but yeah, it maybe
could it be, is Delta 8 different?
Delta 8 is that's THC. It's just a different type of THC.
Okay, so maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
Delta 8.
if it had Delta 8 in it, that's THC, and
so that
will
could
get
happen.
You high. Oh yeah, and Delta 8 is as an edible is equally as potent as Delta 9, which is regular THC. But yeah, Delta 8 as an edible is for certain going to get you high.
Yeah, that was just about I've tried it after, but I've never overdosed again. You know what I mean? Because now it's always I'll read for a long time. I got test subjects that I'm try this.
This is great.
Yeah. Call me in an hour.
Yeah.
Let me know how you feel. You know what I mean?
When we started, I had my little brother is 2 years younger, but he's the guinea pig, and my sister tried one time some edibles and she was the guinea pig. But yeah, edibles, I don't usually take much edibles at all. If I do, like I said, it's a really small dose, but I like smoking a joint. If I'm gonna consume, it's smoking a joint. And I really like the drinks. As of recently, there's THC drinks now, and it doesn't hit you like an edible. It's it's made in a certain way where the THC is actually absorbing through your like tongue and your mouth and everything, as opposed to going through your digestive system. When you go through your digestive system, the THC converts into a different molecule, and that molecule is like a totally different high than when you smoke. That's why edible versus smoking a joint is like two different experiences. But the drinks are cool because it's like taking one puff of a joint, but it's in a drink, and like not everybody smokes, but everybody drinks water, or whatever it is. So it's a really cool new category.
So why is it like that we mentioned the dosing that you just started dying laughing? So what's the story behind
One
it?
Christmas,
One Christmas.
Whole family.
he got the whole family high. Literally, but it was so bad because it was this new product that was like super strong. What was it called? Like THCP or something?
Yeah. It was this new type of THC.
They were high for days. It was his sister was throwing up.
It was way stronger. Like we didn't really know too much about it, and so when we got it, we got
It's
the
a
lab
sample.
test. Like everything was what it was supposed to be. It's like, okay, cool. Now let's see what it does.
try
Like
it.
because this is new, and like there wasn't a lot of other people's reports on what exactly it does, and so we just tried it ourselves. And I passed one out to my brother, his girlfriend, her sister, and her
Knowingly?
husband. And yeah, everybody tried it. Everybody knew that it was edible, but nobody knew how strong it was ultimately going to be. And so, we all eat it. 2 hours later, don't feel anything. And I'm just like, damn, like I just bought a whole batch of this stuff, and like I guess we can't sell it now. Well, maybe I'll I'll eat a second one and see if it works, And 10 minutes after I ate the second one, I start getting like uncomfortably high. And I'm realizing, oh shit, like this was like a delayed reaction or something.
Yeah.
And now I'm just going to be super, super high.
never
Like,
eat
it
Everybody
less.
was sleeping for 24 hours. His sister was throwing up. Like his sister was having the worst
my
time.
sister doesn't smoke weed
Yeah,
at all.
so
She was just like
so fucked.
uncomfortably high along with us.
Hated
but,
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hated you. Not me.
Yeah, and some people
She
like
doesn't
that.
partake
Like,
anymore. She
My sister's
doesn't like
real
weed anymore.
straight.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. For me, it's like it scarred me so much
Yeah.
that if my girl comes home with cookies, there's all sorts of questions. You know what I mean? Like those are homemade.
Yeah.
Where'd you who
That's
made
the
them?
thing about
You know?
edibles. There's the gap of education too, because like not everybody, and again, why regulation should be labeling standards so that. And really, it's kind of the responsibility of like the store who's selling it to you to educate you as well on, hey, is this product right for you? And if you're coming in like, oh, I've never tried weed, like I want to try it for the first time, like they should not sell you a 1,000 milligram cookie.
Yeah,
They
for sure.
should say, hey, here's the 2 milligram gummies. Try one and wait 3 hours and see how you like THC for the first time. Or try a beverage because it only lasts for like an hour, versus edibles last for 4 hours or something. But that's the kind of the beginning of the market that we're in now. But a lot of people have already kind of been learning the lessons of like what's okay, what's not okay, and enough of these stories have happened of like, somebody took too much of an edible or whatever. Like that's too common of an experience with edibles. Right. And even with people who smoke a lot, like period, like, edibles are easy to overdo, so there just kind of needs to be more proper, a standard. There just needs to be a standard. And if there's a standard, then that's better for the consumers because it is still a product that a lot of people like and it helps a lot of people. And there's some people with super high tolerances that want that super strong thing that lasts for longer or whatever. And maybe they're in chronic pain and like edibles help them more than anything else. And they don't want to smoke because it's bad for your lungs. And they don't want to do whatever else because, they don't want to take like Oxycontin or something because that's not good. But edibles help them for their pain. So it's like, it should be legal. It should be available to adults, but it should just be properly labeled. So
absolutely
people are educated and do what's best for them and not do way too much and have a bad experience.
Yeah, I mean, we actually, Orlando is here today because our other guy was an experimental guy.
Edibles?
He used to experiment. He'd be like, hey, switch the camera.
Yeah. Our previous
What, dude?
studio.
Yeah, I mean? Now, let me ask you this: as a woman in the industry, for men, it's we could have the conversations it's a lot easier for us to kind of get by. For a woman, how has this experience been like for yourself?
It's been great, honestly. I feel like for me, I have a lot of fun. Like, but what do you mean exactly? Like
dealing with this industry as a woman. Is it like that you take all the big calls and everything, or how does it work?
I feel like he does more like the logistic kind of stuff. I do mostly like marketing. That's where I have the most fun, and just more like the overall vision and that kind of stuff. More of the creative, nurturing side. So.
Taste.
Do you ever like try to push him into like, no, trust me, this is the way? Do you ever have like disagreements with that where you have to work out?
I don't know. I feel like you always agree whatever I say.
Smart man.
Really smart.
Smart man.
Yeah, I'm not just like agreeing to whatever. Like, she's very intelligent. So, but yeah, I mean, if you see, like, I'm super high energy and very talkative, and you don't see what's in her head, but she's very intelligent and thinking and processing things, and she'll notice the energy of people or whatever. Like, if we go to a meeting, I want her to be there, even if it like she's not going to talk and say anything. She's going to see things, the way that somebody sits or acts or looks at us or what, and she'll be able, afterwards, we're always, okay, what did you think? What was your thoughts on this? And like, okay, how do you think, whatever. And so that strategy and that back and forth, like I said, it's the bouncing back and forth of the energies, because she's seeing things and thinking things in a way that I'm not, and I'm seeing things and acting in a way that she might not either. And like in like a conversation or a meeting, I might be more talkative or otherwise, where she, isn't as comfortable to talk as much or otherwise. Like, she wouldn't have the same conversation with somebody that I would have, but she's going to see things and contribute value in a just different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both respect each other's perspectives, I feel like
Trust sounds, just like you said, trusting each other's perspectives. It sounds like there's a lot of trust here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a double-edged sword, too, because maybe there is another woman in the room, and maybe you guys can go to the bathroom together and give me some intel, or help us navigate this situation wherever it is that we're in. That's important, man. It's important to have that in a partner, not just outside of business, but particularly in business, and a woman's intuition. So
to
have that
great intuition,
and truth be told, a lot of people might sleep on that, and they might not so much play to her and only play to you, and she's just like, oh, I see, okay.
And like, that's also something that I like judge about somebody is like, how are they treating or interacting with the woman in the room as well, how they treat like their girlfriend, wife, whatever, like all of those things. Like, I feel like a lot of people, especially sometimes entrepreneurs, like they are very like only masculine and only like, it's the man is the one that's important, but it's like the woman has so much value in knowledge and intuition and stuff, like you said, that's just like not highlighted enough.
Yeah, the whole team trusts me. They all say I'm a sidekick.
Yeah, that's fire. That's
now, in your deck, you speak about psychedelics and how and psilocybin and
mushrooms.
Do you feel like that's the future? Plants over pills.
Oh yeah, I mean, mushrooms for me is something that I took really young. I don't recommend necessarily people taking this young. You should be an adult, whatever. But for me, this is something that I credit extremely highly to my mental growth. And I personally think that everybody should try mushrooms at least once in their life, even if it's a small amount or dose. Like, start with a gram. That's a really light dose. But it's just going to kind of make you think in a way that you don't normally otherwise. And for me personally, and I've taken mushrooms a lot of times with a lot of people. Every single person that I've taken it with, like, they have had some sort of positive mental revelation where they change something about their life in a very positive way. It's a lot of times just mental growth. It helps them get over something that they were stuck on, or otherwise see something that they're doing in a new light and change it up in a way that is positive, net positive for their life, and for their health as well. So, I think that it's a really important thing, and it's just kind of another step of like, hey, there's a lot of plants here on Earth that some of them and a lot of them are illegal, but they shouldn't be, because they are healthy for people. They're good for people's mind and body, etc. It has a lot of medicinal benefits.
Yeah, I
I
think.
had a much different experience with mushrooms. I tried it like
Please
2
tell us.
times, and they be fucking up my stomach. I don't understand. Is it just
Yeah.
me, or is it like
It's a ritual, and you got to do it properly, and it's a powerful medicine, so you have to respect it. But you know, if I'm gonna take mushrooms, I'm gonna do it on an empty stomach, because something about the fungus, whatever, like it's best if you're on an empty stomach, because when you eat it, and for the 4 hours or what so of the trip, like you're really not hungry. You don't want food. Like it's just not appealing to you. But if you do have food in your stomach at the time you eat it, you might throw up. And that's not comfortable. Throwing up is not comfortable. But if you kind of go through the ritual properly, you know, you go at it on an empty stomach, maybe you have some juices with you or something, but not solid food. I don't typically throw up on mushrooms because I treat it like that, and I go through the process like
I'm
that.
terrified of mushrooms. I've done it once, but I'm not gonna lie. For me, it's terrifying. It's good to know that, right? But like for me,
You can always do more. You can never do less.
yeah,
It's the same thing.
yeah, exactly. And
It is
that's
a
where I get it. Might be
powerful
because
medicine.
of edibles that I'm so terrified of it. But I also think to myself, like, to be honest here, I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican, right? I look at mushrooms. That's a white people drug. Don't mess with it. You know what I mean? Like, don't mess with that white people shit. You know what I mean? Like, that scares the shit out of me.
I think it's actually like in a lot of different countries, like it's grown in like a lot of like indigenous people and stuff. Like
Yeah, for sure.
All different types of ethnicities and cultures took mushrooms throughout time and everything. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a stigma on certain like psychedelics, particularly that's like, oh, that's some white people shit.
Yeah,
but I mean, any race of person that I've given mushrooms or taken mushrooms with, rather,
We don't see color.
it's
You're all
yeah,
white
it's
together.
all color.
Everything's all white.
Just not even.
That's another, I guess, misconception of like psychedelics is like stuff is not like you're not like hallucinating some unicorn in the room or whatever. Like
Yeah.
maybe the wall gets a little like wavy or whatever, but it's very like mild hallucination. It's not like something's appearing that's not there, like I said. So it's really just more of a different mental process that you go through, and it's a lot of times very introspective. But again, it is a powerful medicine, and if you take too much of it, you're going to be uncomfortable because it's, you know, a high dose is very different than a low dose. And if you want to start out, you should do 1 gram or so, because that's a nice low dose. But somebody might convince you to, oh, take an eighth, which is 3.5 grams.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit of an intense dose for some people, and you might get
1
uncomfortable.
gram would be enough.
Yep.
You got some right now. You could give some to Orlando.
Yeah. I got enough time to
Orlando,
see that.
take a bite. Let me check. In a couple hours, we'll talk.
I want the throw up edible. That's what I want.
You want to
Throw
throw
up
up edible?
edible by name. That's the thing. You got any more of those throw up? Jesus.
Next tomorrow, a post goes up. Danza Project looking for a new producer.
Lost another one.
Right.
But what? So, in somewhat seriousness, I think what's really important between the two that we just mentioned, between psilocybin and marijuana, and of all many different versions, it comes down to your intent of the use. Like, is it therapeutic use or is it just for recreation?
Yeah.
And that's also one of your biggest issues. You're talking about replacing $1 million pharma industry with this new therapeutic opportunity.
Tens of billions, not a million.
Right. Well, there you go. Okay. So, yeah. So my bad.
Huge. But yeah, I mean, there's people taking lots of opiates, lots of antidepressants, or all sorts of different, you know, mind and body altering drugs that are not good for you. It's very bad for you, especially opiates. And a lot of them don't need something that severe, and it could be helped a lot by the plant medicine. And a lot of people, like I said, like even the antidepressants or antipsychotics, something like that, mushrooms not right for everybody, but for some people you might take it and have some sort of revelation that's like, oh wow, I thought I was depressed or chemically imbalanced, but really I found out that it was because, you know, this trauma happened to me when I was a kid and I never quite processed it. And so I took this, I thought about it, and I kind of realized the root of it. And now that it's a huge weight lifted off my chest, and now I'm not depressed, and that's nothing like chemically wrong with me. It's just like I needed to process some stuff that was maybe in the back of my head that I wasn't even realizing it was there. So that's the type of, you know, medicinal function of that. But definitely some people also just take it trying to get high. And so,
cool.
Everything is like, there's proper uses for it, and then there's what people are going to do. But
well, that's why what you're saying about the lobbyists and all this pushback, it makes a lot of sense. I can
it's
imagine.
scary for like old people that grew up in like the drug war era of, all of this stuff. There's lots of, negative propaganda against this that was used it to put people against people or one reason or another,
Have you ever gotten any like legitimate threats?
No.
Okay.
No.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the business, because the thing is like, it's not like I am the hemp industry and we're $70 billion or what. It's like, it's the $70 billion that is hemp is distributed across 80 something thousand businesses that I told you. So it's like, I'm not even like 1%, So taking me out doesn't stop the train.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
That was the answer I was hoping for.
Now you brought, right. He's holding on to the chair. Now you've proven that legalization, is safe, is profitable. What for you is the next mountain to climb?
I mean, we need to get regulatory certainty for this industry so that we're not worried about like, the next upcoming bill could wipe out the whole thing. So we need regulatory certainty, and that's why I'm really pushing to kind of get, the call to action that I'm pushing people for is like, hey, get in touch with your local Congress representative. It's really easy to send an email or call their office. Like if you don't know anything about politics, like I used to think like, I don't even need to vote because it doesn't matter because my say doesn't matter because I'm just one person. But that's not how it is. I learned really well that the whole grassroots aspect of stuff, like if the congressman's office or whatever gets 10 calls a day, even if like, hey, I'm so-and-so, I use hemp products for whatever, and that's instead of opiates, and it's improving my life, and it's important to me, or hey, I'm a veteran, and I started this business, and we employ all Americans, and like we really care about our customers, and please keep this legal. If they get calls like that every day from people, they listen to that and they really do care about that. And they don't just listen to, hey, who's showing up with a check for, my donation pot or whatever. But that's the real important thing. That's the mountain to climb, is like, I need to make sure that this is going to be a business that could be a 100-year business that could outlive me and my, and be something for a family and have something that's established, as opposed to just like, I'm not trying to make quick money. Like we're reinvesting everything back in this to keep trying to grow it, because it really could be not just, in this country or online or whatever. Like it could be all over the country and then all over the world, So keeping it solid in America and then trying to see, hey, how can we help this for people globally? Because I love the plant and I want it to be accessible to people globally.
You sound like...
Do you think you have a future in lobbying? Because you seem to know the laws so well, and you explain it very clearly that I can see you 5, 10, 20 years from now lobbying for the marijuana industry.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm doing today, but it's like I went up to Washington myself. I went to the Hill and I talked to a bunch of both of us, and we talked to a bunch of different Congress people, and we just shared our story, and that was really powerful to them. It's like, oh wow, 2 kids started this because they had personal injuries that they went to this plant to help them with their pain, and now they made a business out of it. It's a family-run business, and they hired their family members to help run it with them. Like that's a cool and powerful story, but sharing how big the business is, how many employees we have, and like therefore how much taxes we're paying, it's like, oh, okay. Like a lot of these people, it's not so much that they want to keep it the way that it is or one way or another, or they're trying to ban it. It's like most of them just don't know anything about it. And one of their colleagues might get paid by some other, interest group for alcohol or pharma or whatever it might be, and they might be pushing an initiative to ban it. But everybody else just doesn't know anything about it. So when this guy is like really adamant that, hey, this is killing children and we need to ban it, they're like, well, we don't want to kill children, so fuck it. Like, sure, pass your language. We don't care, because they just don't know. But if we, you just have to have a bunch of conversations and tell a bunch of stories, and then get your call on all your customers to say, hey, please also call this congressperson's office and tell them your story of why this is so important to you. Like, even if we have a lot less money, we have the consumers and we have like what's right. Cause it's like at the end of the day, like I feel very strongly that this is just what's right, that this should be legal. And a lot of Congress people, like everyone that we talked to, they saw us out, they heard us out, and they're like, yeah, this seems good, seems right. Like the old lady should be able to have gummies instead of opiates to deal with her pain or whatever.
Absolutely.
So.
Right. And that's what I was actually going to ask you next was you very much sound like a voice for the people and that you want to be a voice for the people. Are you utilizing your social media platforms to speak to people as well, or is it difficult?
Yeah, but we got followers from making goofy videos on TikTok, and Bay Smokes got followers from all the different cannabis related stuff. So all of that, of course, I'm using my voice as founder of Bay Smokes for this, and we're starting to post more content on YouTube about this ourselves as me speaking to the Bay Smokes audience as founders. But in social media, it's very like niche specific. So the followers that watch the goofy videos that we made on TikTok don't necessarily care at all about like, oh, fight for legalizing cannabis. Like it's different audience.
Also the platform though too, like the censorship on the platform.
And there's a lot of censorship around cannabis. So it's like to risk our platform that we've built on TikTok and Instagram, et cetera, that we're monetizing in other ways for this other thing that, hey, if we say this, we could get this banned. Like, we try to keep it's separate because it's high risk.
Oh yeah, it's high risk for us too. We might get a letter from YouTube tomorrow. Email.
Yeah, I mean anything. I'm purposely not promoting any sale because that's the YouTube thing is promoting sale. Everything that we're talking about is all education and more so about policy than the products itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you could have taken the easy route. I mean, you could have could have cashed out and kind of been done with it. I feel like you've definitely had some success with how far you've had it and how long you've had it. But like, why keep going if you've already won financially?
We want to see this all the way through. Like we want this to be legal, more accessible to everybody.
And we're still at the stage, like even as big as the company is, like I still feel like it's like, oh, we're just getting started because I see the true potential. The true potential is, oh, our company's worth $100 million. Let's just cash out. Let's look for a buyer or let's look for whatever. It's like, also it's probably too risky. Like we would probably be pretty pressed to find a buyer today. But if the farm bill gets passed in a clean way, we have a good clean resolution in the next month or so, and then other positive legal momentum things happen, like somebody might come in as an investor and be like, hey, I want to buy your company, which may or may not be interesting to us, but like more so than like because if I had $100 million in my bank account, like I would still want to go and do a business. Like we're young, we have so much energy, like we have so many ideas, like we hired an executive team and a CEO and everything to be the responsible party to the room.
Yeah, they're sick of us though.
We're like the crazy founders.
Like, focus on one thing. Focus on one thing.
We already just have too many ideas. So even if we sold a company, like we would just go work on any of the number of other ideas that we have. Some of them also in this space. Others are just in other health things or other consumer packaged goods, but all kind of focused on like, hey, healthier alternatives, plant-based stuff.
Now you're in DC. And one of these lawmakers try preaching, who's never touched a plant, tries to tell America how it should be used, and you have a voice to say something back to him. What would you say?
Saying, like, are you saying like somebody's saying, oh, this
telling
is
America how
something
this,
bad,
how
it
this
shouldn't be used or whatever?
And, yeah, exactly. What do you have to say to them?
Yeah, I mean, the people that are kind of going off and they're on their hill on like, oh, this is dangerous and it's hurting kids. Like that's kind of the common things. Like, people say like what you said, that synthetic, or that a lot of people are like, oh, it's dangerous, it's hurting kids and stuff. It's like, that's just not really the case. I mean, you might find one article of like, oh, child ends up in hospital after taking edibles. It's like, yeah, that's not good. And their parent shouldn't have had the edibles open near them for the child to take. But that's a really small percentage of things happening. A lot more kids get a hold of pharmaceuticals or alcohol and end up in the hospital or dead, and they don't die from THC, so that's one other thing. But the real thing of it is like, it's being made out to be way worse than it is. The reality is that this is a safe product. People don't die from it. Even the bad actors, they're not killing people. That's not happening. And it's the bad actors is a very, very small percentage of it. Most of these people are like us. Like every big hemp company that I've met, and I've met a lot of them now because all the big ones have kind of band together because we need to all lobby together and be on the same page with our efforts. But most all of them are small business entrepreneurs that are either family owned and run or what, but pretty much all of them also are bootstrapped. So it's like these are people who really care about the plant, who all use their products, and they care about the customers as well, because you're in a small business as you're getting started. Like you get a lot of feedback from the customers that call in through customer support or whatever and tell you like, thank you for this product. It's made me not have to drive hours to the other dispensary, or it's made me not have to take opiates anymore, or the sleeping pills I was taking, or whatever it is. So I just don't think that's an accurate representation of the industry.
Yeah.
And you guys have kids now?
No.
Okay. So let's say 10 years from now, you guys have kids.
Probably.
Son or daughter watching this clip, watching this show. How do you, what do I say? What would you want them to get from what you're basically carrying the flag for now?
In terms of like, how would I want them to interact and consume cannabis, or the company and to take it over or something like that?
Like how would they take your message, right? That's kind of how I'd see it, right? Like,
like
the risk.
I mean, I think the message
love,
is like
everything that's going on with
your
you.
you know,
The
fight for what you believe in. It's like
Yeah.
you can change the world. Like I feel like I grew up with a mentality of I'm in the world and it is what it is, and especially because of everything that we've gone through with this business, having to fight for it, you know, more so than anything, has taught me like it's not just it is what it is. You do have the power. Our voice is infinitely more powerful than you think it is, and like you only don't have power if you tell yourself you don't have power and you do nothing. But if you raise your voice, you go out into the world and try to make your vision a reality, it's very possible to do so. It's more possible now than it ever has been because of AI and the internet and all of this stuff. So the message to my kid and anyone else is just like, if you see something in the world that you don't like, you can go and change it. And you really do have that power. And even if it's a law, you can go and rally people on social media. You can call the people yourself. You can show up with a picket fence or whatever outside their office, and if it's really important to you, you can make it known to the law and do something about it.
Yeah, and it's cool though because they're watching the two of you, so it's like it's a movie. You know what
it's
I mean?
still
Like,
it's in progress. You know, I gotta keep
mom and
recording.
dad. Yeah, like what?
Now, what I like to talk to a lot of people about is the investments, right? A lot of people look at business and like, oh, they're making all this money right away. But usually for most business owners, you're usually like, if you build something great, you went red for an extended period of time that it takes. Sometimes it takes months, sometimes it takes years.
Yeah.
How long did it take for you to actually start seeing real profit from all the expenses that you've put in to build this to what it is today?
So we've been doing hemp business for like 7 years. The first 2 years that I told you about was like we would make blips of money and then nothing. And so it was
Because
just
of reinvestment and everything.
yes, but also just because
Living expenses.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was all
living
just
expenses
going.
and like everything that we were making was like we just covered our living expenses. That was living frugally the first 2 years. The second 2 years was us starting to make more money, getting a little bit more reckless with that money, but also having to reinvest absolutely every single dollar back into the business. I'd say the last 3 years, that's when we've started making more excess than was immediately needed by the business to be reinvested. But still, we have the mentality of like, we, you know, like I said, that's she likes shopping. I like to be really conservative, and we have to balance each other out in that regard because I like spending money too, but also like we're not, super wealthy and have lots of
We got more work
assets
to
or whatever. We have more work to do, and we're not wealthy yet. So we need to reinvest as much as possible back into the business to grow this one, to start the other ones that I'm talking about, because, we don't want to just be Bay Smokes. And what if Bay Smokes or hemp in general gets banned or whatever? We need to have some other businesses. But why I don't invest in like a stock or a real estate as opposed to just back into businesses, because I know I could take, $100,000, put it into this and turn it to 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 a lot faster. Like stocks, that's very unlikely to do. It's not impossible, but it's very
takes a while,
unlikely to
yeah.
do.
You gotta hit like Bitcoin surge or something like that.
Or do leverage trading, which is extremely risky as
Why
well.
don't you invest in stock? I'm like, I don't want to have the conversation again
Yeah.
right now, but that's exactly my answer to that. Now, and there's a ton of employees. Right? How many employees do you have?
About 100.
Payroll is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like just on top of that, you got all the employees to pay, and then it says employer taxes, and then you pay yourself, and there's taxes on top of that. It's a whole lot of taxes.
A lot of taxes.
A whole lot of taxes.
Good partner to the government,
When they call it synthetic weed, do you think it's more ignorance
Yeah.
or strategy?
I mean, if it's like a politician saying it because they're trying to support their stance on why we need to ban this, then that's strategy. It could be ignorance. It could be they heard it and they're just echoing somebody else's claim. But there's not a lot of people. The two people that I mentioned, Andy Harris, Mitch McConnell, those are the guys going hard, standing on the claims that this is terrible, that it's killing children or whatever it is, and that, synthetic, all that stuff. Those people, that's strategy. I can't imagine. Maybe they just are like some people, old people, like are just, they still don't believe that cannabis could be anything but the devil's lettuce, So there's definitely people like that, but I think that they're not, some people like to, I feel like a lot of young people is like, oh, politicians are ignorant or stupid or whatever. Like these guys are really smart, but they're just playing. It's like a show,
Yeah.
So whatever they're saying, it's not like they're ignorant to it. If they're ignorant, they don't say anything. They don't talk about it because that's ignorant to do, is talk about something you don't know anything about. But if they're saying what they're saying, it's a strategy one way or another.
For peace, what's the price you pay to truly achieve real, true peace for the both of you?
In what way? Like safety or?
Not just peace where, look, as an entrepreneur, we're constantly thinking
like management of time.
Not just that, like, right, as an entrepreneur, we're constantly thinking like 3 bad months and I'm fried, I'm fucked. You know what I mean? It's like as far as you get ahead, you're like, oh, I can't fuck up. What price do you feel like you're paying it for true peace? Like when would you ever feel like you're good?
Oh man.
Once this is legal, I feel.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is no matter how much money we make and even how much money we save and put away, like I've seen people get money seized from legal hemp businesses and they had millions in a bank account and the bank account gets seized. Like that's still something happening. And it's like, oh man, that's crazy. So to think like, we have all these employees, we have all this money and all this cash flow, but like it's not safe. So I don't feel at peace and I can't feel at peace until we have regulatory certainty. And that's really a shame because we're a small business. This is all our money and I'd like to think we're good people who care about the world and whatnot. So it's like that type of person shouldn't have to be worried like, oh, is my business going to disappear and get completely stolen and taken from me overnight or whatever because of some law that just doesn't really make sense. And it's not what the people in country want. And we've actually paid like top pollsters or whatever to do polling data. And it's like 80% of people, bipartisan, both Republican and Democrat, are in support of keeping this industry and adding sensible regulation, not to ban it. Nobody, in like less than 20%, it's like 10 or 9% or something, is like, oh, ban it. But like, this is what people want, and we should be able to peace, but we're also coming out of prohibition. So it's not like, there's so much history behind this plant that we're not the people that initiated the fight. We were carrying the torch from those before us. But we're really close, and we're really close to being there. So it's exciting.
Let's go.
Now, before we close out, I want you to take an opportunity, just like you say, you speak to a lot of people. I want you to speak to the supporters that are watching this show right now and take a minute or two just to explain to them exactly what you feel like they should be doing to help push your agenda forward.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, if you are a consumer of cannabis in any way, you should support hemp being legal because this is a way for small businesses to get started. This is a way for, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, where your background is. We started with basically zero money into this and bootstrapped it to where it is today. And I've seen people of all races and backgrounds do the same thing in this space. That that comes from the laws being the way they are and not having, $1 million licensing fees or crazy rules that are just restrictive to who gets to participate. So if you are a consumer and you want the businesses to be able to operate how they are, and you want there to just be plenty of options of product on the market, you should support this law. And what you need to do now, because it's really important now more than ever, because the Farm Bill is being voted on very soon, and Andy Harris, Mitch McConnell are trying to sneak in language that would ban the industry. You need to call your local representative, congressman, and you can find who your local rep is on our website on the About Us section of baysmokes.com. There's a link that tells you if you enter your address, you can find out who your local representative is, and it'll give you instructions on how to email them. Basically, just tell them your story, why you use the products, why it's important to you if you're a business owner or whatever. And you can also call them. Calling them is more effective than just emailing. But just tell them your story and why this product is important to you, why it should remain legal. You have power. Use your voice. Get involved. Now is the time. It takes 5 minutes. It's free.
Life is grand.
Life is good. God is good.
You've built your company to a $100 million valuation, right? Out of a 1 through 100, where do you feel like you're at in that scale of life?
We're just getting started.
Yeah.
I don't
We
know.
have a really big vision.
Yeah. It's very big, and it's beyond this. And it's not like, oh, if I could make a $10 billion company, then I'll just be good for life. Like, I don't want to sell a company and retire. Like, I have a vision. We have a vision, and it's a lot more than just consumer goods. It kind of spans into all different types of plants as medicine, further educating people along that, and health in general. Like, I feel like we have the ability as humans to live a lot longer than we're currently living today. And that involves us getting more harmonious with the earth, getting more in touch with the plants, and that just education, and then the cleanup. We've kind of done a lot of damage to the earth over the past couple hundred years in discovering technology. And now it's time for wisdom to kick in and for us to learn how to use everything properly. But the mission is so much bigger, and it's really just the beginning.
What does 100 look like for you guys?
100 years old or 100?
No. What does the 100? I said 1 through 100. You said you're just beginning. At what point is it like I'm gonna retire?
I think in the future, we are like a venture fund that's funding other passionate entrepreneurs that are, will be older and have less energy, but we'll be funding and mentoring people who are young and energetic and have and share the same morals as us, and want to bring some other product or vision into the world that we think is going to benefit the world in some way and align with our...
We want to elevate the human experience, basically.
That's
with
interesting.
plants. All sorts of plants.
I greatly appreciate the two of you coming by and sharing this message.
Thank you for giving us the platform.
And where can people find the both of you individually, the website, the both of you individually, or any social medias that you have, anything?
My Instagram is William G4TH, and hers is just Katiana.
With a K.
I answer DMs, so people can DM me.
Yeah. And then for the website is baysmokes.com.
That's right.
Yep. And Orlando, lastly, I wanted to let you know if you were smoking Bay Smokes, you wouldn't be coughing so damn much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's good, clean stuff.
But again, I appreciate the two of you greatly for coming by, and I can't wait to see what the two of you do going forward. So,
thank you.
We're locked in now. We're going to try this Bay Smokes, and
Come on.
we'll see how it goes. Orlando,
Yes, sir.
sign us off, my brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.